Hi there, it's Sarah from Inspire Tarot. Welcome to the channel. Let's see what message Spirit has for us today. The Queen of Swords. I love that card. So we know the Queen of Swords is, she's a very straight shooter. Yeah, she doesn't mince her words. She's very logical, very uncompromising. People tend to respect her, maybe even fear her, because she's unafraid of speaking her truth, which is a wonderful way to be. And as long as we're diplomatic and kind at the same time, then Queen of Swords energy is very powerful. Now we're able to communicate really well. And we're able to stay emotionally detached from situations, which is very helpful, because the ego will interpret something and then the emotions will flare up. And to have the capacity to pause and align with the spirit and just stay calm and speak from a very rational place is a very important skill to have on our spiritual path, for sure. And the Queen of Swords is very healthy, so she won't lash out at anybody or be snarky or anything like that. The mature Queen of Swords is just very direct and to the point, without being unkind. The Hierophant. And the Hierophant is all about our kind of religious and spiritual beliefs. So this is when we're getting very in touch with what we believe. We know that once we've got to a place where we're interested in A Course of Miracles, then our discernment is good. Our belief system, we're kind of, the way I always see it is, once we've kind of found our way back to unity in our mind, once we've understood that unity is where the peace is, then there is nowhere else to go. And A Course in Miracles and many other teachings that are non-dual take us to this unified place where there can be no problems, because if everything's unified, there's nothing to have a problem with. So we're always understanding that we need to transcend the dualistic way of thinking with the spirit in order to get to oneness. And then once we do get to that oneness, we don't have any problems. So, but oneness is a different way of thinking and understanding than our dualistic system, where we always believe that one person has to be wrong and the other person has to be right. But really that's the ego's trap, and not a trap that we want to fall in. So remembering how important unified thinking is absolutely vital on our path. Next out is the Page of Swords. So yeah, the Page of Swords is just very interested in new ideas, and will refine any ideas in the mind. So yeah, and the Page of Swords definitely believes in himself. So he's very interested in the mind, even though he may be on the younger end and immature end. He's kind of looking at the mind in a way that focuses on healing. And I know from my own journey that whenever we're in page energy, we're kind of learning through our mistakes. And whenever we upset someone else or cause an issue, then we're forced to learn. And the Page of Swords is very much forced to learn by trial and error, by making mistakes, and then being humble and maybe having to do research and apologize. So Page of Swords energy is good. Three of Swords. So yeah, the Three of Swords is all about heartbreak and betrayal. And this is something that the Page of Swords can learn from. This is something that we all have to learn from at times. Whenever we feel really hurt and feel betrayed. But because of the projection mechanism, we always push the blame outside and think somebody else has done something to us. But the truth is that we create our own reality. We create our own dream experience. So anything that, if someone seems to betray us, then it's a reflection of self-betrayal. And we really need to be mature about it and look at it that way. So there's always much to learn. I know when I've come out of relationships in the past that have been painful, I have actually written down all the things that I felt the other person did, and then the spirits asked me to turn that back on myself and see where I do all those things to myself. And yeah, it's quite an eye-opener really when we see that we do things to ourselves that are unloving, yet we only notice it when other people do it. When we do it to ourselves, it's not really considered an issue. So we almost ignore ourselves in a way that we don't really understand. But then our external experiences give us opportunities over and over again to refine our beliefs. Every time something unpleasant happens, then we get to look at it in a helpful way with the spirit. The Hanged Man. So the Hanged Man is all about seeing from a different perspective, which we need to do regularly. Because every time the ego comes up, it'll tell us how to interpret something which is always wrong, and then it won't feel good. And then the Hanged Man state is where we kind of pause in order to shift our perspective. And we do have to surrender and reassess constantly on this journey. It's a journey of letting go of our dualistic perspectives in favour of unified awareness. So yeah, and we can never have too many reminders. We need to be reminded over and over and over that this is the process of what we're doing. And even though it doesn't feel very glamorous and exciting, we just need this constant reminder to go back within and not be tempted by belief in the external world and the external way of thinking. Two of Wands. So the Two of Wands is all about opportunities and progress, where we're kind of maybe in our comfort zone, but we feel like it's time to grow. We feel a bit unfulfilled. We're starting to feel like the grass is greener. And even though feeling like the grass is greener is an ego ideal, the spirit can use it to kind of push us into leaving our comfort zone. Maybe partaking in something, a new opportunity or a new relationship or something. So the Two of Wands, yeah, is very much a card of growth, of starting to move in the right direction. The Fool. This card gives me the creeps. I probably should look at that. Something to do with clowns. It's creepy. So yeah, the Fool is very much somebody who's clueless and carefree. Somebody who sees life as a blank slate. So to me, there's two ways of looking at this card. One is that we can be very naive and just kind of go into the world clueless. But the other one is where we are very trusting in the spirit, and we're so trusting in the spirit that we accept and understand that everything is working out for our good, and everything that happens to us can be used in our favour. So the Fool card then in that place is just so trusting that we understand that anything that happens to us can be used to help us, to be reinterpreted in a helpful way. So in that way we can just be very trusting and open-minded. And I know there's lots of things that I've wanted to do in my life that I felt like I couldn't do because I didn't want to speak up, or I didn't want to be seen, and various things. The Spirit is always moving us through these opportunities. So yeah, the Fool is just somebody who is very unattached and is prepared to take risks and look at different options, and goes about life in a very kind of optimistic way and trusting. So yeah, it's a nice mental state to be in, the Fool. But it definitely can have its downsides as well if we're not careful. So we need to be aligned with the Spirit. We definitely need to be aligned with the Spirit. The King of Swords. So it's interesting that we've got the King and Queen of Swords. So these two cards together, I mean, it could be like a power couple, but it could also be about being very connected to truth, being very direct and focused on cutting through the nonsense of life. We each have the masculine and feminine within us, and we have to balance them. This is a huge thing that many starseeds and light workers and people on the planet are working through, this balancing the masculine and feminine elements within us. So yeah, it's getting that balance of doing and giving and being receptive and very nurturing. And it can feel quite a difficult balance. I think many of us have very distorted perception when it comes to balancing these two items. And the Swords cards are all about the mind, so we really do need to focus on the mental capacity. And the mind is really all that exists. We know that the Spirit, I like to think of the Spirit as the mind. For all intents and purposes, that's probably the most simplistic way to think about it. The mind is all that really exists, and the mind continues after our physical death. So any work that we do on the mind in each incarnation goes with us, we take it with us. And consciousness never goes backwards. So nothing is wasted. Anything that we create or obtain in the physical world, we can never take with us, and it's not valuable. Whereas any healing and mind training that we do is always helpful for us. The Lovers. And yeah, we know in love relationships, then this is when we get our greatest opportunities to heal, because I think there's probably more expectations when it comes to love relationships than in any other relationship. So yeah, we get lots of opportunities. And I think intimately we're very close to a romantic partner. So we really get to see ourselves up close. You can't hide from yourself in a romantic relationship, particularly when it's a very spiritual connection, where the person that you're attracted to will basically do your most feared thing. If you have fears, they will act them out in a way that is extremely painful for you, and that's just their way of coping. So when we have relationships like this, they can be very challenging, but they are the best way for us to see what needs to be healed. And they're also wonderful opportunities to give and receive love as well. Everybody loves a nice relationship. But yeah, they're definitely where our deepest work is. In the World. And so that's a wonderful card to come out, because that's all about satisfaction and wholeness, about accomplishment, that we're constantly expanding our mind, and suggests that it's time for us to level up. The World is, I like to think of this as kind of expanding our horizons more, becoming more, seeing from a bigger picture perspective. So when you're at the bottom of the mountain, you can't really see the view, whereas when you get to the top, you can see the view. And that's how the mind works. And the more unified the mind is, the more expansively it can see, the more it understands everyone's perspective, and that everyone's opinion is just a result of their life experiences, and to them it's really real. But to other people, maybe not so. But the spirit kind of understands that this is how everyone's mind works and meets us at that level, which is really important. So, yeah, interesting reading today. I hope it was helpful. Love you. Bye.